back to Gila's Tap House and enjoying another episode of the Average Joe Beer Connoisseur. It has been far too long since we've done an episode. We only did like 7 in 2020 thanks to COVID. In 2021 threw a wrench in our plans because you can hear her yourself. That is Laurel Grace Gila. She made an appearance. And last year in 2021, we realized that we have a beer addiction. Non-alcoholism, not a problem, but a true beer addiction. Because Taylor couldn't drink, but we still wanted beer. We were still craving beer, looking for beer. So 2021 was an interesting, adventurous year where we went with non-alcoholics for most of the year. And we picked some of our favorites, some of the ones that we think are pretty swallowable. It's probably an interesting term to use. And we're going to run through them for you today. Just to go over the review system, because it's been a long time, we're going to do taste for style. We're going to, I don't even remember them, it's been so long. Do you remember what they were?
Taste for style, drinkability.
Drinkability, how easy it is to swallow. And we're used to go over about intoxication levels that it could get you if you drank too many. But today we're going to focus on curb appeal. What does the can look like, the name, things like that, what makes you interested in it. So I'm just going to go first, I'm just going to go right into it. Budweiser Zero, 50 calories, and this is a true zero. So when you're going non-alcoholic beer, you have to be very careful of what you go after. For the simple fact that some are 0.0 and you could drink 30 of them and not have a problem, and other ones like O'Doul's say 0.5 or less, so they don't actually know the alcohol content in it. And the reason that is because they're actually brewed 2 different ways. Budweiser Zero is brewed like a Budweiser, but they don't use any yeast, and then they use for filtration systems and different things to try to get it clear and make it drinkable. O'Doul's, which is the 0.5, as you can see, looks very similar. What they do is they brew it, they ferment it, and then they boil out the alcohol. So that's a little bit 2 different things. Now, depending on your doctor, it'll determine on which one you want to drink. Our doctor told us it was okay for Taylor to have 1 beer occasionally. So we never wanted to test those boundaries, but knowing that it was okay for her to consume 1 beer, which is a standard 4.5%, we knew that she could have a couple of the 0.5 or lesses. You don't know how much is in it. We always assume high. So I'm not condoning drinking while you're pregnant. I'm not condoning drinking while you're breastfeeding because that is not safe. But our doctor and other doctors out there say 1 drink every once in a while isn't so bad, and you would have to drink 8 of these non-alcoholics to equal that 4.5%, so it's perfectly safe. So let's get into it. Budweiser, 0.0. So this tastes like Budweiser. Basically, if you took 2 cans of Buds, Bud Heavies, and you poured them into a gallon of water, that's pretty much what this tastes like. Now you're probably like, oh, that doesn't taste good. But if you can't drink and you're at a social event or a gathering, these 0.0s, it does give you a little bit of beer flavor, a little bit of taste, and they're pretty drinkable. It's not like an aftertaste or it's funky. Like you can just throw them back. So remember, for the rating system is based on pours, quarter, half, 3/4, full, and how we get there is if you're sitting at a bar, endless supply of taps across the world. How much of this do you want in it? You know, just before you move on to the next one. I'm going to be honest, a lot of these non-alcoholics, I'm not going to really want to drink if I'm sitting at a bar. But I'm going to try to be fair here. For this Budweiser, I'd actually go with a half pour. It's a decent palate cleanser. It tastes fine. It's good. And it's okay to drink. So if I'm in between my craft beers, if I want to slow down while I'm drinking while I'm out, this Budweiser Zero is not a bad choice. So I'm going to pass it off to Taylor. She's going to talk about BrewDog. BrewDog is a brewery that's been taking over the alcohol-free game. And they come out with a variety pack, which has a seasonal beer in it, but she can just go ahead and talk about the beers for you.
Yeah, so this is BrewDog's seasonal pack here that we have in this flight. This first one that I'm going to go over is Punk AF. Sounds like it should be as fuck, but it's actually alcohol-free. So these ones are all 0.5 or less. So again, if you're trying to be lighter on the beer, drink them in between so you don't get as drunk, these are good ones to have. So this one is a pale ale. I'm gonna go ahead and give it a try. It's nice and light.
So while she's sipping on that, what BrewDog does is they actually make all of these beers with alcohol, and then they just make their version without it. So they make the beer and then they put that in a batch and they boil out the alcohol, and that's how they come up with their finished product.
So most of these are going to taste pretty similar to their originals. Again, it's going to kind of more taste like a watered down version. So good beer. If I had to drink this one, there is other beers that I actually liked more that are not alcoholic. I would say this one I would probably give a quarter pour if I had an endless supply and had to drink it.
Yeah, I'd go with a quarter pour for that one too. As out of the variety pack, that was probably my least favorite. But out of their staple beers, anyway, Punk isn't one of my favorites anyway. It's a very lighter pale ale traditionally, and I'm just not a fan of it. So when they actually blew it out the alcohol, they actually lost some of the flavor that was kind of non-existent for me to begin with. Next up, we have O'Doul's. O'Doul's is a staple. It is the hardcore, the traditional. This is what people think about when you think of non-alcoholic beers, and it is the beer of the PGA Tour. So everyone that goes out and golf says, yeah, they love to drink, they have a good time, they're shooting, on the 9 or whatever it is. I don't golf, but this is what they're talking about. They're out there just drinking O'Doul's all day long, right? That's what I assume. That's what it says, PGA Tour. So let's go ahead and get started. So the O'Doul's is actually a little bit more robust. It's a little more flavorful. It actually has a better, bigger mouthfeel. This is very similar tasting to a true Budweiser Heavy. This is a very good lager. This is right down the path. Taste for style, it tastes like a
Oh yeah.
welcome to the circus. This is going to be an interesting. We're going to see how long we can make it. We might have to shoot this 7 or 8 times. I probably won't. I don't do that.
This one's gonna give you a little bit more of a mouthfeel than some of the lighter ones
Right.
will give you.
Exactly. And this is a little bit thicker, better. Honestly, if I was sitting at a bar and they said, we only have non-alcoholics, what do you want? This is probably going to be one of my go-tos as far as lagers are concerned. I'm going to give this a 3/4 pour.
Yeah, that's probably one of my favorites of the non-alcoholics we've had. So I'm gonna go ahead and go with the second one in this variety pack. So this one is Elvis AF. So this one, again, you can get their Elvis traditional IPA. This one is a grapefruit IPA, so you'll have that grapefruit flavor. So this one definitely has a lot more flavor than the Punk. You do get that little bit of hint of grapefruit. If I had to drink this one, I'd probably go with a half pour for this one. It does have a pretty good taste.
Yeah, and that is the younger sister of Elvis Juice. You've probably seen that one around. That's one of their big staples. If you get Brewdog anywhere near you, you're definitely going to probably find these, but Elvis Juice is going to be the one that you're probably going to see most likely on tap if you don't have a big selection of Brewdog around. So next up, we're going to have Heineken. This is 0.0, so this is another one that you can drink 30 of them and it's not going to cause any problem to the fetus. And this is also one that if you're an alcoholic, you could probably drink this and not going to fall off the wagon. That's not going to be very helpful information because if you're an alcoholic, you're probably not watching this show. That's just my own theory on it.
We'll go with New Year's while he's tasting that. I know the New Year, January, everybody wants to go on that kick, that health trend. So if you're trying to cut back on beer and you still want that taste of beer, these are some good ones to try out.
Yeah, when you're doing dry January, which we did dry 2021, so we haven't done dry January like we normally do. Yeah. So as far as Heineken goes, it's actually not that much different than a regular Heineken. Heineken, the German style lager, it has a very distinct flavor. The hops and the malt that they use is very particular to Heineken. And it's very similar to that, it's just more of a watered down version. Instead of a whole gallon, it's probably, 1 can mixed with a half a glass of water is probably what it's going to taste like. I'm not a big Heineken fan myself, so if I was sitting at a bar, this would only get a 1/4 pour for me.
Yeah.
Okay, girly.
Laura wanted to chime in there. She wasn't a fan either.
No, she doesn't like that one.
So this
Kidding.
third one in the variety pack, Hazy AF. This one's going to be your traditional hazy style IPA. Again, you can kind of get these at the bar. So you can see it's that hazy color. And that one does get that, tastes like a hazy IPA. That one I'm probably going to go with a half pour for as well. Like that a little bit more than the Punk, a little less than the Elvis.
So the hazy, she agrees with everything I was saying, in case you're wondering. So the hazy AF was actually probably my favorite out of the variety pack. I would give that a 3/4 to a full pour. I really enjoyed that one. We were at the bar, and I probably had 4 or 5 of these when we were actually at Brewdog in Cincinnati. Did we even tell them about Brewdog in Columbus? Brewdog in Columbus is the famous dog hotel. So it's a hotel where you can take your dogs. They have a museum where you can walk your dog around inside. They have a dog park. It's a great place. If you're ever in Columbus and you're a big dog lover, take your dog, go to the hotel. It's really neat. And something that I forgot because I was supposed to start it today, and this has just been, winging it right now, was curb appeal on what these looks like. It was factoring into my ratings. So I'm going to go back over that real quick. I love the white with the gray. Super clean, super simple, super easy. And Suns has huge curb appeal for me. This girl is obsessed with being held. She loves being touched, so she'll probably whine unless we're holding her. And then look, there she goes.
There we go.
Okay.
There we go.
Next curb appeal would be O'Doul's. Very traditional. Just looking at it doesn't really get me all that excited, but you know, it's classic. And I love the green bottles. This and Rolling Rock, for whatever reason, when I see one of these at a party or something, I always go for one of them just because of the green bottle. Big curb appeal for me. And then my last beer that I'm going to talk about is Samuel Adams Just a Haze. So this is a hazy IPA. These are kind of easy to make non-alcoholic because you just make a very basic beer and then you can just dry hop them as you would anything and you can get a lot of flavor for them. This one has 98 calories in it, in case you're wondering. It's listed on there. And this one's good. This is one that you can sit down, you drink, you have no idea that you're drinking a non-alcoholic beer. The only real difference is the carbonation is always a little different on this one. Taste for stout tastes like a hazy IPA. You get a lot of the hop aroma, a lot of the hop flavor.
Oh, yeah.
You poor thing. Not our best episode. And there's just a lot of flavor to it. So I would give this a full pour if I was sitting at the bar in between. Oh my.
There you go, girl. See, it's dinner time soon. Come on.
I'm gonna transition.
All right, girl, you gonna go to daddy?
Oh my. Hello.
All right, so
Hello.
last but not least, in that value pack that you can get for alcohol-free ones, they do a seasonal one. So this one is Ghost Walker. They kind of have different ones throughout the different seasons. So this is just a traditional IPA. So we'll go ahead and give it a try. It's kind of darker than most of the other ones that we've tried. So that one's pretty plain. Doesn't really taste like much. So I'm gonna go ahead and give that a quarter pour for drinkability.
So that pretty much wraps us up for today. The one thing that I want to go over is this is a beer review show, and I want to have a drink that actually has alcohol in it. So I brought out for you today, Taylor's going to pour it into a glass one. This is Astra Baja Blast Off, I think that's what it's called. It is made by March 1st in Cincinnati, and they do a fantastic job with their hard seltzers, and that's what this is. It comes in at 5%. I think we've had some of the other ones on the show, maybe the Bottle Pop or the Red Cream Soda. Oh my goodness. And so what they did is their whole idea and their whole goal of making this beer was to make it taste like Baja Blast. And I think they nailed it. They hit it out the park. So, cheers. This thing is fantastic. If you're a fan of Baja Blast from Taco Bell, then you're going to be a huge fan of this hard seltzer. Honestly, I could drink this like a Baja Blast, like soda. This is fantastic. Full pour across the board. There's no other real way to describe it except for it tastes like Baja Blast.
And they actually just came out with a value pack as well. I believe it has the Baja, it has the red cream that he mentioned. I think there's an orange one which we have not tried yet. I'm not sure what the fourth one is, but it's a whole soda pack.
Yeah, super easy drinkable. It's not as heavily carbonated as other seltzers, and curb appeal. I love the color of the can. The name is simple as all the Astras are. And this just works really well. So we're going to be enjoying that, as she is going to be enjoying some booby milk real soon. As you can tell, she's getting a little fussy. But until next time, remember, happiness is just a flight and a baby away. Until next time, cheers.